install this 20-watt heater in each carburetor, and these are the steps that will be required to do that. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the air filter and get it out of the way. We're going to remove these two gear clamps. And it's just a straight screwdriver. Next, we're going to cut the retaining safety wire off so we can remove the air filter completely away from the plane.
Notice how he's doing one side at a time, partially.
And just wiggle it back and forth so we can get it off. So there we go. That's out of the way. So before we get started here, you want to protect your airplane. You want to put a nice soft blanket down. I put some rags down here to soak up any kind of cleaners or fluids that will come off. We don't want to damage our paint job. Next step in the process is we're going to remove the front carburetor. We're using a Phillips screwdriver. And we're just going to undo the band clamp. Loosen it off. You don't have to take it right off, just loosen it enough that we can wiggle the carburetor off. So now we're going to grasp the carburetor, we're going to twist it a bit, and off it comes. So notice the fuel line's still hooked up, the throttle, the choke, everything is still hooked up. So we're going to place a wiper in the hole to cover up where right there, just to keep anything out of the engine. We want to keep the engine nice and clean. Move the bowl vent, and where this heater is going to go is in this hole that's behind this little plastic plug. So that's the hole right there. So what we need to do now we have the plug out is we need to take this hole and we need to use a 17/64 drill bit to make it just slightly larger so we can tap it easily. So we want to do this several times to go through. Stop and make sure that you haven't gone too far. You don't want to touch the bottom of the hole. So keep checking.
Show me what you mean by the bottom of the hole.
And the hole is that deep from the end of the screwdriver to there. So you can take that and transfer it with a piece of tape on your drill bit, whatever way you'd like to do it. I'm just doing it freehand. So we finished drilling the hole now. We're done. We're ready to tap. So we're using an 8 by 125 tap. It's a metric thread.
Which comes with the kit.
Which will be included in the kit. I'll put some tap lube on it. So then we're going to start it in and confirm that we're square and confirm that we're square in each direction. We're good. If you don't feel comfortable doing this tap operation yourself, then you can get somebody with some more experience with that to help you out with that and do that for you.
You're going fast, but you normally wouldn't, right?
Okay, so there I'm at the end of where I started the thread already. So now I'm going to go back and use some proper tapping procedures. I'm going to turn it a bit and back it. Turn it and back it. Turn it and back it. So I'm cutting thread right now. Turn it, back it up. Turn it and back it up. Turn it and back it up. Which is standard tapping. Now it's stiff to turn. It could have filings packed behind it, or I might be at the bottom of the hole. So let's remove the tap, clean the hole, and see where we made it to. Okay, I'm just using common things that we'd have around our airplanes like WD-40. So I'm going to rinse it with WD-40. Rinse out the hole. We've all got some brake cleaner around. We'll give it a little squirt in the hole. Henceforth, why we need to really protect the side of the airplane. I'll take my flashlight and I will look in there. Okay, we need to tap it just a little bit further. The top is clean. We're going to lubricate it again. And back in we go. Make sure that the thread starts nice, it's all straight. Okay, we'll wind it into where we left off. And there we go. So it had some material packed behind it, so we'll be able to get in further. We're nearly finished. So tighten it, loosen it, tighten it, loosen it. We are at the bottom. So now we're going to remove it. This should be the last time. So we're going to clean the hole again. And again, we're just using WD-40 because we all have that kicking around. And a little brake cleaner to give it a flush. And it looks like we have nice threads in the hole.
Let me expand that out.
I'm going to clean the edge of the hole here with a hand countersink. Okay, looks good. Give it a final cleaning. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, here's our 20-watt heating element. So we're going to test fit it in the hole. Make sure our threads are good. This should go in with your fingers. Very easy going with your fingers. Now, when we get to the very end, if you screw it in with a wrench now, you can damage the carburetor housing here. So you don't want to tighten this up fully until it has the wire harness in it. So the wire harness is going to go in this little space that's left right here where the screwdriver is. So do not test it and tighten it past that spot. Okay, we're going to remove it again. So the next step in the installation process is we're going to run our wire harness. We've just temporarily attached it with a tie strap there just to keep it in the general location it's going to need to go. When it's finished, it needs to be fastened on properly so that it's not going to chafe. First thing I want to do is I want to take our ground contact here, which is the 2 wires with a ring end on it, and hook it up to a good ground, which we're going to use right here, which is where the spark plug cables attach on. So I'm going to loosen that and remove this bolt here, and then I'm going to install this on it. Okay, so I just installed the ground cable on the bolt that holds the spark plug cables, and it has some other grounds on this plane here too. So we're just going to retighten this, and then we'll come back and torque it to Rotax factory specification on that bolt. And for now, just hand tighten it. So that completes the ground installation. So it runs from this bolt here, and it runs up, and it runs around the starter and just lays on top, and it all blends in for fastening it after into a harness. Okay, now we've completed our ground circuit. Now let's actually install the heaters and the carburetors. We'll move we've previously installed the carburetors back on. Everything is tight, they're straight and level across the top. So now we're going to take one of our heating elements, and we're going to put some heatsink compound on it. Now we're going to I'm going to do the front carburetor here because it's easier for you to see it. We're going to insert it with the heat compound on it. Install it in. We're going to hand tighten it, finger tighten it. Now you remember from before, you cannot tighten this up unless it has the wire ring on it, because you will damage your carburetor. So it's still going in. Okay, we're using a inch-pounds torque wrench, and we're going to go to 30 inch-pounds. And we will tighten that up. And that is it, 30 inch-pounds. And we'll take our positive wire and we'll just rewrap it here a little bit. Insert it on. We'll bend the ground down a little bit, and then we're going to take a tie strap and connect these two together so that this cannot fall off. So we'll tie strap the two of these together, then we'll put and tie strap and secure the whole rest of the harness together. This wire that you might see here is just a spare wire that was run in the airplane at the same time in case they needed a wire in the future. Now, this wire now is run into the fuselage. It's routed all the way up to the front, and we'll go over that installation next. Okay, so here we are in the rear carburetor. I routed the harness down through. I've installed the heatsink compound on the heater, put it through the ground ring. I'm hand tightening it. And now we'll go back, and of course we're going to go with 30 inch-pounds again, and we're going to keep the connector facing up. We'll install the positive lead, bend that one down, and again we'll tie strap that one together and we'll secure the routing of all our lines. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we're going to secure this positive lead by attaching it to the negative lead with a tie strap. And now it's secured and it can't slip off. Okay, now that we've completed our wire harness installation on the engine and it's properly grounded at the back, we need to run the power wire that's going to operate the system down through the fuselage. So the wires run along the harness, and it's run up alongside the existing harness. This again is the extra wire that was put in there for future consideration. It runs up into the panel, and then it runs to this switch for on-off, and of course it must be in a fuse circuit, and this is the fuse for it, and it will be labeled as carburetor heat.